Welcome to Madison Square Garden for the New York Knicks and the Orlando Magic. And the race for playoff seeding extremely close in the Eastern Conference. Going into tonight's game, the Knicks are 1 game behind Chicago, game and a half in front of Cleveland, while Orlando is vying for position with Boston, Charlotte, and Indiana. Hi, everybody. Marv Albert, along with John Andres. And John, we have reached plateau number 4, game 4 between Shaquille O'Neal and Patrick Ewing. And once again, the key figures to be which player can stay out of foul trouble.
Well, the advantage goes to Ewing, Marv, because the Knicks, his team, are playing much better basketball now, so the pressure won't be on him as much as it will be on Shaquille to carry his. And Shaquille O'Neal right now is being as cool as ever out here at Madison Square Garden. But his team has not been playing the kind of basketball that Patrick Ewing's team has been playing. And I think that gives the Knicks an advantage. And when you look at the 3 times these 2 teams have met, why, it certainly shows the numbers that they have essentially been averaging during the year. Although the 2 games in Orlando went to Shaquille's team. And, of course, the Knicks in the first meeting with Orlando did well here. But the Knicks have come a long ways since they even met more recently.
And the other major curiosity here tonight is the man in the protective face mask, John Starks, who suffered the broken nose in the game against Utah on Thursday, made his return. The crowd was going crazy, and with that face mask, hit 6 for 6, including 2 from downtown. And once again, John Starks will be shooting jump shots with an obstructed view.
It's amazing. I mean, I don't think in the history of the NBA anything like that has ever occurred to the degree that John Starks made it happen. He got a little help from Mike Saunders when he put that face mask on and went right out and hit a 3-point shot. He was 6 for 6 when he re-entered the game, including 3 threes, and he proved he could go to the other side by moving without the ball and get a long shot off. Interesting. Pat Riley said just get in there and move the ball. Well, he certainly did. How about these numbers? 22 points, 9 out of 15, including 4 out of 6 from 3-point range. John Starks, however, did his warming up earlier today without the mask on, and he's stretching, getting ready for this game. Probably feeling some pressure on him to try and duplicate the effort of the other night, which will be virtually impossible.
And you know the crowd will be going wild every time he touches the ball at the start of the game. It is a capacity crowd once again here at the Garden. The Knicks and the Orlando Magic about to meet for the 4th time this regular season. Knicks going up against Shaquille O'Neal and the Orlando Magic. Bruce Beck caught up with the Shaq man at the shoot-around this morning here at the Garden and asked Shaquille if he was excited about going up against Patrick Ewing once again back here in New York.
Yes, I do. It's a tough place to play, and I just hope we can get a win up here.
Is it special, though? I mean, growing up not far from here and this being, you know, the mecca for hoops over the years?
It is kind of, you know, a whole bunch of my family members are going to be here. You know, I'm playing against Patrick, and I hope we can just get a win here.
How psyched do you get to go up against Patrick?
It's just another game to me.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
When you go up against a center that's somewhat comparable in terms of you, in terms of talent, you don't get a little extra motivated?
No, I just, you know, go out, try to do things that I have to do, you know, try to win.
It appears, Marv, that Shaquille has things in perspective. Almost too much so. This guy is too cool. If he plays like he's indicating, why the game is going to pass him by.
That's his dad, Major Philip Harrison. Now, I think Shaquille is just low-keying it. I think Bruce caught him on a kind of on a down time. He was trying to just give the appearance that it is another game, but that is not the case with Shaquille O'Neal. The officials, Jake O'Donnell, Bill Saar, Tommy Nunez, as Patrick Ewing gets set to go on the opening tip against Shaquille O'Neal. Tonight's overhead camera shot brought to you by the Upper Deck Company. Nobody does basketball like Upper Deck. Greg Anthony controlling the opening tip. John Starks gets it to Patrick Ewing. Oakley on the back tap. And back comes Orlando. Scott Skiles, the number 3 man in assists in the NBA, averaging 9.5 per game. Working against Greg Anthony, and that whip pass off the mark.
First, Marv, I don't see how Patrick Ewing can succeed tonight taking that shot, looking at Shaquille O'Neal in the face. He can't see the basket well. He's not going to draw a foul. He ought to forget that new shot he's introduced this year. Tonight, anyway.
It will be Nick Ball. Charles Oakley held back because he thought it would be a backcourt violation, but it might not have been. I thought it was deflected. The Knicks do get it back. Here is Starks for the jumper. Rebounded by Shaquille. Shaquille O'Neal comes in second in rebounding, averaging 14 a game. He is number 2 behind Dennis Rodman of the Detroit Pistons. Skiles gets the pick. Ewing jumps out. Here is Tolbert. Rebound Tolbert. Tolbert eluding the outstretched arm of Ewing.
Well, that's got to make Matt Guokas, the coach of Orlando, very happy, because when I spoke to him before the game, his concern was that his team is not rebounding, not offensive rebounding. Patrick Ewing, top of the circle. Lots of time and a good view of the hoop.
So the Knicks and the Magic tied at 2. We are just underway here at Madison Square Garden. Shaquille setting up down low. Rebounded by Oakley.
Good pressure by Ewing on O'Neal without the foul.
Oakley met on a switch, did not have the shot, but he stepped out of bounds, says Bill Saw.
Now, the other main concern for the Orlando Magic is their turnovers. They are leading the league in this department, and would you believe, Shaquille O'Neal is number 1 in the NBA in turnovers. But even worse than that, the man with the ball, their point guard, Scott Skiles, is number 2 in turnovers, and he opened the game tonight by throwing one into the seats.
Also, he plays in this number 2 into the seats, although that may have been deflected. Jake O'Donnell says yes, it was a deflection. Scott Skiles plays a lot of minutes, probably too many minutes, but Matt Guokas has not been able to find the suitable backup at point guard. Anderson's shot was deflected short, and here's Starks on a 4-on-1, feeding Ewing. Knicks 4, Orlando 2.
Well, Mark, to be specific, as you mentioned, Skiles, the man with the ball, plays 40 minutes a game, more than any other member of this team.
The call away from the ball as Anthony Bowie was grappling for position against John Starks, and Starks called for the block. It is a non-shooting foul. Orlando yesterday afternoon beat the Los Angeles Clippers 112-95. That's O'Neal handling that pass, and he's fouled. Foul on Ewing. So Shaquille O'Neal, who has had his difficulties at the free throw line, will go to the line. No, it's Charles Smith called for that foul. So that's the first on Smith. Shaquille O'Neal, only a 58% free throw shooter. Well, they have made another change on that foul call as we take a look at Shaquille's numbers. Now they say it is Oakley on the foul.
Everybody here representing Knick interests is very pleased that Ewing did not get that foul.
Game tied at 4. Ewing setting the pick for Anthony. And back comes Bowie. Now Skiles played by Starks on a switch. This is Bowie. Rebound Tolbert. O'Neal on the recovery. Tolbert open for the 3. Starks passed up the 3. Feeds Ewing. Knicks 6. The Magic 4.
Well, Ewing is showing the advantage he brings to the matchup with O'Neal, and that is his ability to go out and shoot 18, 20-foot jumpers.
And Shaquille, who does not have the good shot from outside, attempted it right there, rimming the basket. It will be New York ball. Yesterday afternoon in that victory over the Clippers, Orlando snapped the 2-game losing streak. They were beaten by the Bucks, beaten by the Nets. Nick Anderson led the way, 36 points. Shaquille O'Neal had 23 along with 15 rebounds. Ewing way out of his range there. And here's Shaquille, who can't handle the ball, getting it back to Bowie. O'Neal spinning in.
Look at the difference when a big man decides to go to the basket. Another big man can't deal with it. That's what Patrick Ewing should learn from a little bit anyway, to start driving to the basket like O'Neal demonstrated.
Game tied at 6. Anderson putting between the legs, but Smith did not go for the move. Nick Anderson and the Magic very pleased that they finally have come to terms with a new contract that was ongoing, and it had bothered Anderson's play for some time. Tolbert shot, but we get a whistle. Offensive foul. It's on Skiles. Tolbert's shot was rejected, but the play was whistled dead on that offensive foul. Game tied at 6 with 3.5 gone by.
Matt Guokas not happy the way his team has been playing of late. They are not on a roll as the Knicks are certainly coming into this game tonight.
Smith for Ewing. Well, that time he took it inside. The Knicks 8, the Magic 6. Patrick Ewing off to the fast start. He has 8 points, all the Knicks points. He's hit 4 out of 7 from the floor. Here is Anderson for 3. Loose ball foul on O'Neal. Good play by Oakley getting position that drew the foul.
Shaquille is not that active either, which somehow concerns Matt Guokas on that play. He didn't appear to be that active, but he committed the foul because of Oakley's pressure.
Here's Smith. Charles Smith has picked up his shooting recently. Knicks 8, Magic 6. Anderson putting the move on. Oh, beautifully done by Nick Anderson, who's averaging about 20 points per game. He's tied it at 8. Smith, yes. Quick release by Charles Smith, who Thursday in the win over Utah had the hot hand early. 7 for 12, 15 points in all, but could not get the minutes later in the game because Tony Campbell was on fire. Here's a three-point attempt by Anderson. So Nick Anderson, a 33% shooter from downtown, has given Orlando a 1-point lead.
Anderson had 2 threes yesterday. He's a very good shooter, and there's O'Neal's presence. One of the reasons why the defensive percentage of the opponents of the Orlando Magic is so low this year at 45%.
We now move ahead in the action.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. Tonight, it's Ewing against Shaquille O'Neal. Arnold Schwarzenegger taking in the action. What do you think of O'Neal as a physical specimen? 7'1", 305, 7.5% body fat.
Well, I think this is a whole new dimension, it seems to me. I mean, he came over today to Planet Hollywood, and he ate there his lunch. And, I mean, I'm telling you, the waitresses went and kept feeding the food one meal after the other. And, I mean, he must have eaten like 10 meals. It was just staggering the way this guy devoured. And, you know, and he burns it off again, playing basketball, practicing and all this. That's why he has such a low percentage of body fat. And he looks great. He's really well proportioned. And the great thing about it all is that he's a wonderful guy and a very smart guy that has his head together. So I think he's really going to go far.
All right. Thanks for sharing some time with us. Let's go back to Marv.
All right, Bruce. You know, I think Bruce can take on it. Look at that matchup, John.
I'll tell you, that was spoken like the true owner of a restaurant.
Yes.
I didn't know Arnold was a redhead either.
You get the idea that there was no conscience about plugging his restaurant. Is that what you're saying?
No, he could not be terminated.
Anthony Mason, Doc Rivers, Hubert Davis have come on for the first time. Second quarter just underway. Brian Williams has tied the game at 28. Doc Rivers coming off a season-high 14-assist performance against Utah. Now the backcourt with Hubert Davis, who also played well last Thursday. Campbell, Mason, and Ewing up front. Ewing now being guarded by Greg Kite. Shaquille O'Neal getting a rest. Tony Campbell continues to put on a shooting exhibition. 11 straight on Thursday night. His last 11. He's hit his first 2 here tonight.
Well, for all the purists out there, that was a bad shot by Tony Campbell. Only it went in, so all is well.
Here's Royal. Ewing in the hustle move with Williams. Last touch by Ewing. Steve Kerr, sitting on the Orlando bench, got the worst of that. And now Ewing will sit down. Patrick leaves with 9 out of 15 from the field, 18 points, and only 1 personal foul.
That's all good. What's bad, though, is that the Orlando Magic, the team that is not playing well, is 2 points away, or perhaps now on this foul, is in the game with the Knicks in a tie situation, possibly. The focus for the Knicks the last 2 games has been on their offense, which had been weak prior to the last couple of games. Now the focus is going to go back to defense. Pat Riley can't be happy the way the Magic is piling points up here.
Foul was called on Mason. So Brian Williams has come off the bench, and he's a factor. 7 quick points for Williams. This is only his 15th game of the season.
12 is the most he has scored in any of his games thus far.
Game tied at 30. Rivers played by Skiles. Here's Smith. Try to dish it off, and he's called for a travel.
Good defense by the Magic. That forced Charles to stop and commit that violation.
Orlando has won 10, lost 15 on the road. At home 18-12. With that overall record of 28-27, they're off to the best start of the history of the franchise. They're 4th in the Atlantic, 9.5 behind the Knicks, vying for playoff position with several clubs. Nick Anderson, one of the other reasons for the success of the Magic. He's had another terrific year. Magic with a 2-point lead. Here's Campbell, and he finally missed a shot. Skiles shooting from deep. That was a 3-point attempt. Royal with the rebound. Donald Royal getting inside. That opens up a 4-point lead for Orlando.
Knicks are not identifying their men quickly enough on defense. Royal had no one there to bother him.
Hubert Davis. That was a 3-point attempt. Rebounded by Royal.
It's not the way for Hubert to start in the game with a long 3-point shot.
It'll be Nick Ball. Royal lost it.
Now, one of the key matchups is Hubert Davis on Anderson. Nick Anderson is 6'6" and plenty strong. He will try and overpower Hubert down low.
That miss a moment ago by Tony Campbell ends his run of 13 straight field goals made. Doc Rivers brings the Knicks with him, too. The Knick record, Johnny Newman with 19 in a row. He had that 11 for 11, and actually an alleged 11 for 11 against Boston. That's Anderson caught on the foul. John, we did that game up in Boston, and I recall, I don't know if you remember it, he got the benefit of the doubt. He actually missed a tip, and after the game they changed the stat sheet. Not to take anything away from Johnny, he might be checking us out on the satellite, but he received a break to go 11 for 11. And then after that game, he hit his next 8 straight. Doc Rivers has tied it at 34.
Well, Pat Riley said the prior game against Utah was Doc Rivers' best of the season. No arguments there, and Doc has picked it up right where he left off.
Anderson, nice spin move, could not complete it. Knicks on the run. Davis setting up Campbell. Screen jump by Tony Campbell. And Royal comes up with it. Keep an eye on Donald Royal, a Notre Dame product. One of the outstanding first steps in the league. Skiles, it counts, and the foul. What a shot by Scott Skiles, who will go to the line. Davis called for the foul.
I referred to the matchup of Davis on Nick Anderson. Well, the Knicks changed. They put Hubert Davis on Scott Skiles. Much better physical relationship, but Skiles has many answers on offense, and he showed Hubert one of them.
6 points for Skiles. The Magic 37. The Knicks 34. 7.5 to go in this first half. Charles Smith putting a nice move on Brian Williams, rebounded by Greg Kite. Orlando with the ball. They lead by 3. Anderson backing in. And Smith with the rebound. Patrick Ewing is getting set to return. So a brief rest for Patrick. This particular group that did so well against Utah the other night, not getting it done here in the second quarter. Charles Smith is fouled. And a timeout is being called by Pat Riley with 6:37 left. First half.
By 1 point at the half. Well, the last time these two teams played a triple overtime thriller, the Magic won 102-100. Once again, Shaquille O'Neal blocks Patrick Ewing's shot at the end of regulation to force OT. And he appeared to be saying, who's number 1 now to his rival Patrick? I asked Shaq earlier today if that's indeed what he said.
It would be absurd for me to say, look who's number 1 now when Pat had 30 points and I had 8 points. I look at the referee and I say, give me one now. People you see things and, they just say that to try to get their ratings up. And, if I would have had 30 and he would have had 8, then maybe I would say, look who's number 1 now. But, he had 30 points. I only had 8 points. I look at the referee and say, give me one now, because I was getting hacked all day.
So Shaq, candid as ever, says no way did I say those words to Patrick Ewing in that ball game in Orlando. Right now, back to Marv Albert and John Andre. Gentlemen.
All right, Bruce, let's check out the halftime statistics. Orlando 45% shooting on 19 out of 42. The Knicks 49%, 24 for 49 despite that cold stretch in the second quarter. Orlando, the 3rd worst foul shooting team in the league, but tonight 14 of 14. The Knicks have gone to the line only 4 times. And the Knicks assists also are up. 18 assists led by Anthony, who had 9.
Dutch boy in the paint. Ewing with the big advantage. He got off to a big start and he had a tremendous half. No question about that. But look what happened in the paint team-wise. The Orlando Magic getting much more done as a team. Brian Williams did a big job as the Magic outscored the Knicks from the bench. That's unusual.
Shaquille O'Neal playing with 3 personal fouls. On the putback, he stopped and he is fouled. With Charles Smith ejected, Tony Campbell starting the second half. He's up front with Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley. John Starks in the backcourt with Greg Anthony.
Well, when Shaquille decides to go to the basket, it's trouble if you're the defense. And he hastened his tempo there. He lifted it a bit, making it very tough for the Knicks.
First free throw missed by the Magic. Shaquille O'Neal has celebrated his 21st birthday on Saturday. It's good to see he's getting older. It's annoying to say 20-year-old.
Well, what people will be asking him about retirement, and if you're going to go another year, that seems to be the progress.
You're saying time flies, Jay. Yes. That's a 3. John Starks hits his 3rd 3 of the ball game, and the Knicks now lead 55-54. So Patrick Ewing picked up his 2nd foul just a moment ago. 2 on Ewing, 3 on O'Neal. Starks tried to steal it, couldn't save it. Making close contact with Spike Lee over at the near side.
I asked Spike before the game, Marv, if he missed the time, misjudged the 8 o'clock start because he was here about 7:15, and
here for the warm-ups, right?
Absolutely. He said, no, I'm always here at least a half hour ahead. He sits there and gets into it like the players do. I mean, the guy is always 45 to an hour ahead of the rest of the crowd.
And working the officials. I know Jake O'Donnell always appreciates hearing from Spike. Anthony called for that last foul. Skiles and Anderson in the backcourt. Bowie, O'Neal, and Tolbert up front. Shaquille now 4 out of 10. He has 11 points in all. Orlando leads by 1.
That was some pass by Scott Skiles.
Starks for Ewing. Patrick Ewing has done most of his damage from outside. Oh, Shaquille brushing away the hand check of Patrick Ewing. Rebounded by Ewing. 8 rebounds for Ewing. Oakley going to handle that pass, kicked out of bounds by Tolbert. It will be Nick Ball.
It has to happen on the defensive end for the Knicks. Their offense, certainly demonstrated by their shooting percentage in the first half, is going along fine, 49%. They've got to start playing tougher defense.
Oh, nice fake by Starks. John Starks going left off the fake to the right. He left Bowie along the sideline. Knicks 57, Orlando 56. And Starks has come on after the slow start. He now has 11. They isolate O'Neal against Ewing. Skiles with the shot clock running down. Ewing with the rebound. Starks for 3. Yes! Well, John Starks has done it again. He's on fire. And the Knicks lead 60-56. His 4th three-pointer of the game. Skiles tied up. Look out, Oakley and Skiles had some words. Scott Skiles, a very tough competitor. He's had more than his share of brushes with the New York Knicks, in particular in past years with Mark Jackson, who was usually matched up with Scott.
Well, he stood up to Charles Oakley, and Charles had a lot to say as well. Now that was a bad toss. That was tossed to Oakley.
And Orlando fortunate to come up with that tip. 3 minutes gone by in the third. The Knicks lead by 4. O'Neal battling for position down low. Anderson was pushed. It's on Campbell. Second committed by Tony Campbell. Another sellout crowd here at the Garden. 28th sellout in 30 home dates. Open shot for Bowie. Anthony Bowie with only his 2nd field goal. Anthony Bowie, a man who has lived out of a suitcase his entire professional basketball career, product of the CBA. He's made the rounds. Oakley. Oh, nicely done by Charles. And he is 5 for 5. Charles Oakley chasing Johnny Newman and Tony Campbell now.
Well, with Charles Smith out of the game now, it's very important that the Knicks get some frontline scoring other than from Ewing.
Campbell with the save. Starks for 3. Rebounded by O'Neal.
John Starks started to run up court instead of staying with the follow-through. He assumes he's going to hit every time, which is certainly good to have that confidence.
He's 4 out of 7 from downtown. Skiles shooting for 3. Scott Skiles, who has the touch from three-point land, cuts it to a 1-point Knick lead. Oh, Anthony took his eye off it for just a moment, and it cost.
Greg not participating in the offense himself. In the first half, he played 17 minutes, took 1 shot, 0 for 1. 8 assists, though, but he failed to score.
Knicks with a 1-point lead. 3.5 gone by in the third quarter. Here is Bowie way off. Rebound number 10 for Patrick Ewing. Leg block called on Skiles, so the Knicks get the full 24.
It's always so important that the guard recognize when the big man has position, because he's working very hard to get it. So Anthony and Starks have got to recognize the hard work of Ewing, and when he gets open in the right spot, got to get him the ball.
open shot for Starks. And there was the open man, John Starks, who started the game missing his first 4 shots. This coming off the sensational 9 out of 15 after breaking his nose the other night against Utah. But he's come on. He has 16 points. Knicks lead by 3. Bowie saving that pass. Pretty play by Anthony Bowie. The Knicks 64, the Magic 63. Ewing squaring up. Yes. Patrick Ewing with his first points of the third. Knicks lead 66-63. 25 for Ewing, who has severely outplayed Shaquille O'Neal. But that was the case the last time they met in Orlando. And then Ewing fouled out, and Shaquille came on strong, leading the Magic to that triple overtime victory. O'Neal now has 13. The Knicks by 1. Starks finding Ewing wide open. Yes. Knicks lead 68-65.
It is truly beautiful in a basketball sense when a cutter recognizes an open man. Starks saw Ewing after Starks had drawn all the attention of the defense, and he got it to him perfectly.
Good double team. Oakley nearly stripped Skiles. It will be Orlando ball. The Knicks take a timeout, and they are hearing the applause from the Garden crowd.
AT&T long distance shooting information here. 3-point field goal percentage. Orlando 4th in the NBA at 36%. They do a good job, led by Scott Skiles. John Starks, however, focuses the attention of 3-point shooting on this game with his tremendous shooting. John Starks on target now, really loosening up despite that mask he's wearing. Tonight it's a different story. The Knicks led by John Starks, 4 for 9 versus the Magic 2 for 7 from 3-point range.
Patrick Ewing, the high man for the Knicks. He has 27 points. He's 13 of 21 from the field, along with 10 rebounds.
Just asked Jake O'Donnell. He was nice enough to come over and respond to our wave why he threw Charles Smith out of the game in the first half. He said, because he showed me up. I'm the referee. He's not. I was looking for something more eloquent.
No,
that was it.
Well, that will usually lead to the second technical, the reaction to that first. And Rob Thorne, the man who has been making a host of moves in recent weeks from the NBA office, on hand here at the Garden taking in tonight's contest.
You know, sooner or later, the general public is going to know exactly who Rod Thorne is. I mean, to me, he's a West Virginia Mountaineer jump shooter.
Right.
You know?
That's right. Basketball fans. No, he was a terrific college player, had a nice career on the pros, and went on to coach the Chicago Bulls. That's a 3-pointer for Scott Skiles. So Skiles with his second 3 of the game, and the Knicks and the Magic now tied at 68.
As we showed earlier, Skiles comes into this game having made 20 of his last 39 threes coming in tonight. This man can do it in a big-time way.
Shot clock at 5. Ewing. And Ewing able to regroup it. Knicks getting the new 24. Starks picked up on the switch by Tolbert. Ewing is fouled. Patrick Ewing with a duck under move through the foul. It's number 4 on Shaquille O'Neal.
Ewing, prior to this moment, has been to the foul line once tonight because of the jump shooting. He has not put pressure on O'Neal in the sense of moves inside the foul line till now. Patrick is married to that one-handed move.
Knicks lead at 69-68. It has been a good one right from the start, close all the way. Scott Skiles has gone the distance. He has not received a breather. O'Neal called for steps. Won't count.
At Hampton Jitney, your help.
Was 5 for 13. 13 points, 7 rebounds. Ewing has certainly had his way with 28 points, 11 rebounds. Ewing has 2 fouls. O'Neal with 4. Starks try to get it to Ewing. Ewing recaptures and hits. The Knicks 71. The Magic 68. 4:20 to go in the third. Tolbert, Ewing slapping at it, recovered by Anderson. Anthony is fouled. Anthony was surrounded and took a shot. He's hit by Tolbert. His second, a non-shooting foul, and the Knicks will put it in play.
Interesting that Matt Guokas is going to leave, or has indicated he's going to leave Shaquille in the game despite the 4 fouls.
Starks, yes. 18 for Starks, and the Knicks have their biggest lead of the night. Matt Guokas wants to talk it over. 3:53 to go in the third. It's the Knicks 73. The 3 remaining. Third quarter, Knicks with a 5-point lead. It is Orlando ball as we pick it up. Donald Royal just checked in, being played by John Starks, and Ewing snatches the rebound. Starks from Anthony, and Bill Sarr calls the foul on Nick Anderson. That was very close. Anderson, for an instant, felt he had all ball, but he got him with his body.
Meanwhile, the Knicks continue to put pressure on the Magic by advancing the ball as well as they did. Pat Riley couldn't be happier about the ball being in Greg Anthony's hands. He can fly, and Starks smells ball and basket every time. So he was in front of Greg Anthony, and he got the ball.
And Greg Anthony with 14 assists, one off his career high, which was established against Orlando back in January.
I like his chances of tying it and perhaps surpassing it.
Way to go out on the limb time. 3.5 remaining. Third quarter. The Knicks now lead by 7. 7-0 run by New York. Here's Shaquille coming up short. Royal with the follow.
When asked to describe Donald Royal, the first words out of Matt Guokas' mouth is a live body. I mean, the guy is quick and he's up on the boards at all times. He's a pleasure for a coach. He works so hard. He's like Starks. He's their version of Starks.
Nice pass from Ewing. Campbell fouled on the play, will shoot 2. Tolbert called for his third substitution. Here's Brian Williams replacing Tom Tolbert. Tolbert leaves with 4 points. Brian Williams played well in the first half. 9 minutes at 3 out of 4, scored 8 points. Tony Campbell to the line for the first time. So the Knicks are now 5 out of 9 from the foul line. For the Knicks tonight, game 3 of a 4-game homestand. They're playing 6 of their first 7 March games at home. Back here Wednesday to go up against the Los Angeles Lakers. Pat Riley gets a shot at his former club. Remember, last year Lakers won both games against the Knicks, including that blowout led by Sedale Threet, who had an incredible game here at the Garden. Offensive foul on Royal. Played well by Ewing.
That truly was one of the great shooting exhibitions Sedale Threet put on. Well, Royal continuing his aggressiveness going to the basket. Runs into Patrick Ewing, unfortunately for him.
Remember that Magic Johnson sitting at courtside,
right.
rooting on Sedale. Ewing. And let's see what the call is. Offensive foul it is. So Ewing is called for his third.
Oh, Patrick Ewing deciding once again to go to the basket. Knocks down the 300-pound 21-year.
Lakers home for Indiana. 8:30 start Saturday night. They collapse on Shaquille, gets it out to Skiles. Shot clock at 5. Anderson crowd was applauding the defensive sequence by the Knicks, but Nick Anderson put it away. Here's Campbell, rejected by O'Neal. That is his second block. Brian Williams getting inside. Williams on the putback. The Knicks now lead 76-74. Good run here by the Magic.
Tell you one thing, Marv, once again, Patrick Ewing is so aware of getting into foul trouble. I mean, he is not playing aggressive defense. Williams had lots of space between he and Ewing.
Campbell, yes. The Knicks 78, the Magic 74 with a minute 20 to go in the third. How about the stamina of Scott Skiles? He has played all the way, and he does it night in, night out, 40-plus minutes. Royal lost it. Royal regains. Shot clock at 2. Down to 1. Skiles for 3. And back comes Starks. Starks spinning his way, and he's called for a travel. He thought he was tripped up by Skiles.
Boy, he quickly stopped his jumping up and down reaction to that call by Jake O'Donnell.
Good call.
John took on a little too much there and then reacted. Oh, it's a good thing that he stopped after 2. As Charles Smith found out earlier, this man does not have patience for those who show him up.
Doc Rivers and Anthony Mason check back in as his third quarter winds down. Again, the double on O'Neal. Anderson for 3. Open shot for Nick Anderson by virtue of the double team on Shaquille O'Neal. The Magic now down by only 1 with a half-minute left in the third quarter. Ewing again with the room. And Orlando will hold for 1 shot.
I tell you, as you look at the game right to this point, and you look at all of Patrick Ewing's shots, it's very hard to like his offensive game tonight, despite the amount of points he has, because he's not putting pressure on Shaquille.
Rivers nearly picked it off. Out of 2. Brian Williams. Yes, and it counts. Oh, that was some move by Brian Williams with 1 6/10 of a second remaining.
Brian soaring above the basket. Not a Knicks big man there to deal with him, though. Why is he so loose? Why isn't there a bigger person in front of him or around him?
Orlando has come from behind. They trailed by as many as 7, and they now lead by 1. Williams, who has played well here tonight, to the line. He is seeking his 13th point. 2 for 2 from the line. Rivers firing. Doc has been the last-second specialist at the end of quarters, but that time way off. Orlando finishes with an 11-3 run. They lead by 1.
Jelly's last jam on Broadway. What do you think of the agility of Ewing and O'Neal, the 2 big guys?
Well, first of all, it's a great game. I mean, they're just playing great basketball, and it's amazing. They're so huge, and to be able to move so quick and cut so sharp. A lot of dance ability.
Do they have the footwork to cut it on Broadway?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, you still have how many performances left of Jelly's last jam?
I finished May 2nd. I got about 64 to go.
All right, we've enjoyed it. Take care.
Thanks.
Let's go back to Marv.
All right, Bruce, with Gregory Hines, the star of Jelly's last jam. Gregory is winding down.
Marv, having seen him perform and understanding the effort that NBA players put forth night in, night out, which is amazing. This guy is amazing. I can't believe what he does night in and night out in that show, how hard he works.
He is a great talent. Ben Verino signed. I guess not to take over his role, but another role in Jelly's last jam. Let's talk about the Broadway beat as this fourth quarter gets underway.
Lots of dancing in that show, Marv. I highly recommend it.
Magic by 1, 79-78. Ryan Williams given the room. And a loose ball foul has been called against Orlando. It's on Royal Pat Riley starting this fourth quarter with a front line of Ewing, Mason, and Oakley, Rivers, and Starks in the backcourt. Knicks led by as many as 7. Orlando with a good run to end the third quarter, taking a 1-point lead. Oakley given the shot. And Charles is 6 for 6. Whoa. He has 12 points.
Well, that's terrific when the Knicks have a confidence level in Charles, and he responds as he does. And the crowd is responding to number 32 getting ready to come in, Herb Williams.
Herb has not seen much daylight off the bench recently. Has not played at all the last 2 games. He had his hands full of that triple overtime loss as he tried to contend with Shaquille O'Neal after Ewing fouled out in that last meeting in Orlando. The Knicks with a 1-point lead. Rivers going all the way is rejected by Brian Williams.
I mean, that's a terrific play by Williams. It looked like Rivers had it. At 6'4", he sails around Skiles, and what a terrific response by Brian Williams, who's giving Matt Guokas and his team a major lift. I mean, Matt's big complaint tonight was we're not rebounding, we're playing poorly, and this team has been all over the boards.
Pat Riley trying to buy some time for Patrick Ewing, so Herb Williams comes on. Shaquille O'Neal is back on the floor. This a very difficult matchup for Williams. Royal involved in that collision with Starks is called for the travel.
Well, John Starks felt the presence of Shaquille as he went up for that jump shot, and all of a sudden it was like shooting into a closet. There was Shaquille O'Neal's presence, and he lost all sight of the basket.
Knicks have a 1-point lead with 1:40 gone by. In the fourth, Marv Albert with John Andres, Bruce Beck, Walt Clyde Frazier from Madison Square Garden. Another sellout crowd on hand. Pretty pass from Herb Williams, setting up Anthony Mason. The Knicks lead 82-79.
Anthony, say thank you. I didn't see it to Herb. Nice pass from Herb Williams.
Final score, Cleveland has defeated Denver 122-107. Here's Royal getting inside. He'll go to the line. Donald Royal, fouled by Herb Williams, making only his first appearances at the line. Usually spends quite a bit of time at the free throw line. Right now, let's go over to Bob Page. All right, Bob, Donald Royal at 82% free throw shooter, hitting on his first.
Marv, you know, some observation I made looking at Royal's play this year, it's rather amazing too. He shoots far more, almost double the amount of foul shots he makes rather than he does have field goals. The guy will have like 1 field goal in a game and 8 foul shots. That's kind of the way he goes. He has an amazing ability to draw fouls.
Always on the move, and we talked about that first step earlier. Rivers missing the 3, but Mason rebounds. Starks got the step on Royal, sets up Mason. And knocked out of bounds by Rivers. Orlando with a backcourt of Skiles and Anderson. Royal is up front with Williams and O'Neal. Scott Skiles, played by Doc Rivers. Herb Williams trying to guard Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille coming up short. The crowd enjoyed it. Brian Williams called for the foul.
Be interesting to see if Pat Riley sticks with Doc Rivers now in the fourth quarter. Greg Anthony has had a big game, as you've noted, Marv, with his assists, big totals. But now in the fourth quarter, it's Doc Rivers, and there's a little bit of a pattern developing as he did earlier in the year with Rivers finishing the game.
Starks for 3. Anderson with the save, dangerous save, but Skiles was right there. The Knicks lead at 82-81. Alley-oop for O'Neal, not able to hit. He's been off. Rebound O'Neal, and he's fouled. Fouled by Williams.
The basket is still shivering from Shaquille and his attempted dunk.
O'Neal on the line. He is 3 for 4 from the foul line. Only a 58% free throw shooter.
I loved his statement after hitting foul shots in that triple overtime win for Orlando against the Knicks. Not a good foul shooter, as you point out. But he made a couple of key foul shots at the end of the game, and he was quoted as saying, I love the way I responded at the end. I like the way I did things.
Well, as you mentioned, he's a very candid guy, and it has added to the popularity.
Yes.
Although I think that our crew caught him on a off day. Rivers on the follow. Not getting inside with the left hand. The Knicks now lead 84-83. We played a brief passage with Shaquille O'Neal right at the start of the game, and he was about as down as I've seen him. Bruce Beck catching up with Shaquille at the shoot-around earlier today. Maybe he didn't care for Bruce.
Now look at the pressure he puts on Herb Williams by rolling into the basket. What a move.
You know, that Bruce can really annoy people. You know?
What do you think about
It's
it?
that personality trait that comes out occasionally. Here's Mason. Anderson with the rebound. The Magic with an 85-84 lead. 7.5 remaining of the game. Royal bottled up, and he is fouled. Rivers trying to help out. And Doc called for the foul. Patrick Ewing returns. Herb Williams sitting down. Magic with an 85-84 lead. Shaquille stopped by Ewing. O'Neal just put it off the glass to keep it in play. Last touch by Mason. It will be Orlando ball.
Marv, one of the key points, the way this game has evolved, as Shaquille tries anything he can to get that ball in, can't get it done. A lot of active play under the basket. The Knicks have gone to the line 10 times, made 6. That's terrible. And Orlando has made 19 of 21. I mean, the Knicks are the home team, and they have become a jump shooting team exclusively tonight. They're not drawing fouls. They're not putting pressure on Orlando.
O'Neal fell down on that inbounds pass, and the foul was called on Anderson. Timeout taken.
Trading Cam, Doc Rivers, moving that ball inside, then becoming a rebounder himself. Ball comes to his hands, and he knows what to do. He goes to that left hand to beat the big guys. Greg Anthony now sitting one out after accumulating 14 assists, but he only has taken 1 shot in this game.
Starks. Oh, he challenged O'Neal. He was looking to tag a 5th foul on Shaquille, and Shaquille stepped away. The Knicks now lead 86-85. John Starks has 22. Anderson. Williams tipping it home.
And Ewing turns around as if to say, who's got this guy? No one was in front of him.
It has been a very strong performance for Brian Williams. Season high 14 points for Williams. Starks for Ewing. Rebounded by Oakley.
John had the shot, but he deferred to Ewing.
Mason. Oakley is fouled. Oh, he was walloped by O'Neal. Oakley has some words with Shaquille.
Until Charles realized what happened was good for him. Good ball movement now. Not bad for Mason. And then Oakley gets rocked by Shaquille. I mean, if you're going to foul a big guy, that's the way to do it, baby. Make him feel it and deny him the shot. No intent to hurt. Those two guys couldn't hurt each other.
That first meeting between the Knicks and Orlando, Charles Oakley was ejected early, picking up a technical foul after having some words with Shaquille, who just picked up number 5. Greg Kite replacing him, and Charles Oakley to the line. Charles is now 1 out of 2 from the foul line. He's 6 for 7 from the field.
Matt Guokas did a very unconventional thing. O'Neal got his 4th foul with several minutes left in the 3rd quarter, and he left him in. And as a result, his team right now is trailing by 1. Had he taken him out, which 99 out of 100 coaching moves would have dictated, no question, I think that the Orlando team would be behind by 10, and this game would be all in control of the Knicks.
He gambled, and apparently it paid off because Orlando was able to come from behind. Anderson. Rebound Oakley. Been a terrific game for Charles Oakley. 14 points, 14 rebounds. Knicks have a 1-point lead. Starks to the hoop. Broken nose and all. John Starks challenging, going right into the middle of that Orlando defense. Knicks by 3. We're coming up at 5 minutes to go in the game. Oakley chasing Skiles and a foul on Oakley. That's his 2nd.
You'll note that the Knicks always send a big man, whether it be Ewing or Oakley or Smith, out to double team on the guard, and it causes confusion. Starks on the last drive has taken it upon himself. He and Rivers are cutting into the heart of the Orlando defense.
Both the Knicks and the Magic with 4 team fouls. Ryan Williams could not handle that lead thrown by Scott Skiles. Not Rivers, John Starks in the backcourt. Patrick Ewing, Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley up front. Ewing, nice fake on Kite, rebounded by Kite.
Well, from Kite's standpoint, if he can make Ewing take a jump shot when he's inside the foul line, then he's doing a good job.
On the 24. Anderson make a pick and then beat Mason. Foul is called. Beautiful move off the dribble by Nick Anderson. Anthony Mason recovering was called for his 4th.
Anthony Mason called upon to serve so many roles for the Knicks. Patrick Ewing trying to calm down Mason, knew he was unhappy. His role as co-captain of the team. But Mason now being asked to guard a smaller, quick player. Many times it's the big, strong player, the Karl Malone type player. This is only one Karl Malone, but Mason has such versatility defensively.
The 2 free throws by Anderson, pulling Orlando within 1 point, 4:20 to go in this 4th quarter. Mason up the step.
Quick.
Comes up hobbling though. Anthony Mason trying to shake it off. John Starks just gave him a shot in the chest.
Get tough, Anthony. Don't baby yourself as he limped up court.
Matt Guokas taking a timeout.
Be like me, Starks is saying.
4 minutes.
It's getting a look at that position Anthony Mason has. The taller Brian Williams couldn't deal with it. He came up hobbling, though, after that shot. Twisted that ankle. John Starks recognizes this, runs over to him, gives him his shot. Come on, Anthony. Be tough. And after the whistle blew, he went over to greet Mason to pass along some of his courage and strength in a team manner, thinking of Anthony's many weaknesses, which is so apparent when you look at him. He looks like such a wimp.
And apparently Anthony Mason able to work it out. He came up hobbling after that drive to the basket. The Knicks with a 92-89 lead. Anderson. Loose ball foul called on Brian Williams of the Magic. So it will be Nick Ball. Check that. The Knicks will go to the line. Both clubs are now over the foul limit. And right here we will check in with Bob Page at the MSG Sports Desk.
Number 32,
All right, Bob, Seattle now 40-18, so they are 4 games behind the first place Phoenix Suns, who are not scheduled tonight. Atlanta has defeated the LA Clippers 121-113. Cleveland beats Denver 122-107. Philadelphia under Fred Carter now took over for Doug Mull in front of Minnesota at Minnesota, leading by 13 in the fourth quarter. Here the Knicks have a 5-point lead, 3:45 remaining of the game. Shaquille O'Neal has returned. Patrick Ewing trying to front him. O'Neal is playing with 5. Ewing has 3 fouls. Shot clock at 5. Here's Shaquille. Forced the issue again. Rebounded by Mason. Shaquille O'Neal is only 6 for 20. He's actually having the same type of game that he had during regulation in Orlando in that triple overtime, and then came alive after Ewing fouled out. He has not had a good one. Knicks swinging the ball. Ewing, air ball. That just did get a piece of the net, but it was deflected out by O'Neal. And the Knicks maintain possession.
Fans very kind to Patrick on that air ball. They didn't remind him as they do everyone else.
Knicks have a new 24. Anderson all over Starks. Now O'Neal jumps out. Well, Starks off the double team, lost it to Royal. Anderson again, played by Mason. Shaquille with the fake. Oh, Shaquille O'Neal with a power move. He thought he was fouled, did not get the call. First field goal for Orlando in nearly 4 minutes. The Knicks now lead 94-91. Mason. Rebound Ewing. Rebound Mason. Patrick Ewing has missed his last 6. Starks for 3. Mason gets to it.
Gigantic rebound by Mason.
Pat Riley wants to talk it over. Timeout taken. 2:10 remaining.
Neal fake, one big step inside Ewing, and a slam dunk. What an awesome move for a big guy. Just awesome.
Coming up on 2 minutes remaining of the game. The Knicks with a 3-point lead. Ewing, he's missed his last 7 field goal attempts. Here's O'Neal with the fake and drills it off the glass to bring the Magic within one.
It had the look of a jump shot that went down from the moment it was released by the shooter.
The Knicks lead 94-93. Starks going to the left is called for traveling.
That second step, on that second step, you've got to be going up, and John Starks' foot hit the floor on the second step.
Patrick Ewing's last points came with 4.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Well, the last 3 games between the Knicks and Orlando have gone right down to the final minutes. Foul is called on Ewing. That is number 4.
Patrick dealing with the big guy. Patrick working on the jersey of Shaquille. Had it out of his shorts there, and he did a little pushing.
Shaquille has done the job of the line tonight. He's 6 for 7, has 22 points. The game is tied at 94. Shaquille O'Neal able to hang in, although playing with 4 fouls for a long time. Hits the free throws, and Orlando leads 95-94. Ewing with the drop step. Oh, what a shot by Patrick Ewing. The Knicks by 1. So he missed 7 in a row and hits the drop step hook. to give the Knicks a 1-point lead. Ewing has 32. 1 minute remaining of the game. Man of defense from the crowd. Shot clock down to 5. O'Neal backing Ewing. O'Neal rebounded by Tolbert. 24-second buzzer had gone off. The Magic just did get that shot off, and now they call for time.
A lot of contact on O'Neal's moves to the basket. Knicks getting fortunate that no fouls are being called when that occurs. To go, timeouts remaining, equal for both teams. 2 plus a 20. O'Neal playing with 5 fouls. Patrick Ewing getting the ball in low with his back to the basket. Presents Shaquille with the first jump hook of the night, and he was on target. And Shaquille last time down court driving that ball inside, puts a lot of pressure on, but misses that shot, hits the floor as he lost his balance.
Orlando ball, and Bowie has trouble finding someone to throw it into, and calls for a 20. So Orlando now with 2 timeouts remaining. The Knicks have 2 and a 20. This program is authorized by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated, solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event without the express written consent of Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated is prohibited. The Knicks will be back here at Madison Square Garden Wednesday night, going up against the Los Angeles Lakers, first of their 2 meetings. And then Friday they'll play the Bullets in Landover. Saturday back home for Indiana. Well, the Magic able to inbound now. 15 on the 24. 35 seconds remaining, 4th quarter. The Knicks have a 1-point lead. Anderson with 7 on the shot clock. Anderson forcing and hitting. Orlando by 1, 97-96.
John Starks has taken the mask off.
Playing with the broken nose without the protective mask.
Oh, Shaquille O'Neal rocked Doc Rivers, who's on the floor on his back. And it appears the call is going against the big man, Shaquille O'Neal.
He is fouled out. Orlando is over the limit, so Doc Rivers will go to the line. Rivers at 85% free throw shooting.
Well, you see Rivers setting a pick, and Shaquille, unfortunately for him, went up against one of the great respond people, defenders, to pressure, and that is Doc Rivers, who went flying. It didn't look as though Shaquille gave that kind of force to the way Rivers reacted.
Not one of Shaquille's better games. 8 for 23, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 2 block shots. Game is tied at 97. 15 and 4/10 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. So Doc Rivers making his first appearance at the line. And Skiles gets to it on the back tap. Orlando calls for time. Rare miss by Doc, one of the better foul shooters in the league. We're tied at 97. We'll be right back.
7/10 seconds to go. Tie game. Orlando with the ball. Lots of options. They tend to make very quick decisions. They're not a particularly patient team. But the Knicks have to look out for the drive to the basket. It's not going to necessarily be a jump shot by any means, as the Orlando Magic is very good at pushing that ball inside. And Skiles, of course, the 4th leading assist man in the NBA, is an excellent distributor of the basketball.
That's the man that Matt Gukas would like to take the final shot. That man is fouled out. Shaquille O'Neal on the bench. Orlando has 1 timeout remaining. Knicks have 2 and a 20. Down to 13 and 7/10 seconds.
Donald Royal must be boxed out. He's very good at following up, as is Williams. He's already demonstrated that.
Game tied at 97 as Tolbert looks to inbound and calls for timeout. That's the final timeout for the Magic. Tolbert couldn't find anyone. Now in a discussion with Brian Williams. Apparently there was a mix-up there. And now the Magic in a situation where they must inbound the ball to beat that 5-second violation.
Well, Skiles, not being a big guy, can't make the very important decision. Tolbert, a taller guy out there, naturally to look over the head of the defense. In this case, maybe they're better off with Skiles bringing the ball in because the Knicks aren't guarding the inbound passer. Skiles is a better decision maker, although Tolbert did the right thing.
So Matt Guokas trying to map things out following Knick basketball live from the play-by-play here at Madison Square Garden with Mike Francesa and Will Obey, Gregory Hines, Branford Marsalis, Nate Tiny Archibald, Hannah Storm, Ronnie Lott comprising the guest list. That'll be following the Knicks and Orlando. I mentioned Nick Anderson would be the man that Matt Guokas would like to see get the ball, get the shot off, and he has certainly delivered down the stretch.
The Knicks being a victim on February 14th of a three-point shot that Nick made. Kept Orlando alive. They went on to victory in that game, but he is, as you point out, Marv, a clutch player. But they have live, active guys out there, and I think I'd be as worried about the shot, about the follow-up shot, as I would be about the regular shot, because this is an aggressive young team, and they're very good at hitting the boards tonight. Anyway, they haven't been all season, but tonight they've proven they can hurt the Knicks on their offensive boards.
Nick Anderson is only 8 for 22. He has not had a good shooting game. 23 points for Anderson. Again, Tolbert will inbound. No timeouts remaining. Gets it in. Brian Williams. Out of 10 seconds. Anderson with it. Guarded by Mason. Down to 5. Game time. 97. Anderson with a crossover. Going one-on-one. He's stripped by Oakley. Timeout taken. Do they get it in time? The clock showing no time remaining. Matt Guokas over at the scorer's table pleading his case. Pat Riley wants, he wants 1 second on the clock. Well, 0.3 of a second remaining as the Knicks take a timeout. And now the Knicks are in a situation where they would need a deflected shot with 0.3 of a second remaining.
Mason did the job on Anderson, and Anderson dribbled into a situation where other Knicks could come over and deflect the play, as they did. Mason moving those feet tremendously, and he just dribbled himself into a problem, and Charles Oakley was in the middle of it for the recovery. That's the key play, is Mason and his quick feet staying with a very difficult player to guard, Nick Anderson. This is a veteran crew of officials here tonight. Bill Sarr, Tommy Nunez, and Jake O'Donnell.
The Knicks have to set up as you watch Matt Guokas react. If I could read lips, I don't think he was arguing about looking for a foul. I think he was concerned with how much time would be put on the clock, and they decided 0.3 of a second remaining.
Knicks are going to have to go for a tip play now, a long lead pass. There is not enough time for them to get a legitimate shot.
Yes, that after the so-called Trent Tucker rule, where it is impossible to get a clean shot off with 0.5 of a second remaining or less.
Going back to the Trent Tucker shot, which we've seen ad infinitum, as you just described, Marv. I was just talking to Bill Sarr while you were doing that, and he verified it, that it has to be a tip.
So Anthony Mason will throw in from center court. This will have to be guided to the basket. And And a timeout is called. You know, this is a play. Mason couldn't find anyone, so the Knicks used a full timeout, and they have a 20 remaining. Orlando has no timeouts left. This is the type of play, John, that you really cannot practice because the defense knows what's coming. So you might plan it, you might set it up where, for example, Mason throws it in as to who he's going to throw it to, but there's no defense against it when you're going through a scrimmage because everybody knows what's coming.
And Matt Guokas, of course, doesn't have Scott Skiles out there. He would be the victim. It could be Doc Rivers on the play if the matchup was right, but it's a long lead pass and the tip, and it's really somewhat impossible to succeed on this, although there's always an exception when there's a live event going on to that. But the Knicks would like to see it in Patrick Ewing's hands, and perhaps they should stick with that, even though the percentages aren't great, simply because he's the biggest target out there. Pat Riley could come in with Herb Williams and his tallest people and try and present some deception. But John Starks is certainly capable. He's got the mask back on now. We're looking at a contact situation here for sure, should he be the man.
Yes, it has come down to strictly luck. If the Knicks are able to deflect it home.
And one of the other luck aspects that you point out, Marv, is that Shaquille O'Neal is on the bench having fouled out, and because we undoubtedly are looking at an overtime game.
And if this does go to overtime with Shaquille on the bench, this a complete turn from what took place when the Knicks and Orlando met in Orlando in that triple overtime affair. All right, here's the toss, and it's off the mark. Williams on the interception. That is the end of regulation, and now we do go to overtime. The Knicks and the Magic are tied at 97. We'll be back in a moment. Tied at 97. The Knicks' last overtime contest, the triple overtime loss to the Orlando Magic several weeks back. In overtime, the Knicks have won only 1 and lost 4, while Orlando 2 up, 3 down.
Well, Marv, last time they met in that overtime game, as we look at the records here, the Magic 2 and 3 in overtimes, the Knicks only 1 and 4. Pat Riley was very concerned and unhappy about the Knicks, as he called it, lack of discipline, emotional stability. The game they blew a lead in the last minute against to go into what turned out to be 3 overtimes, and their foul shooting was so poor in that game, 22 out of 37, 60%. But tonight, it's somewhat similar. The effort has been there. They have not made selfish plays throughout the game, but there's no way this game should be in overtime. The Knicks should be able to control the Orlando Magic that starts Tom Tolbert at the forward and Anthony Bowie at the other forward. I mean, they have not executed nearly as well as they have the last couple of games.
It was Shaquille O'Neal taking over in that triple overtime game with Patrick Ewing fouling out. In this instance, O'Neal is on the bench after picking up his 6th. Off the double team. Ewing thought he was fouled, but the steal pulled off, and it leads to Donald Royal drawing the foul at the other end, and he will go to the line. Starks called for his 4th. Donald Royal is 2 for 2 from the line. Orlando with Greg Kite now at center. Tom Tolbert, Donald Royal, Scott Skiles, and Nick Anderson on the floor.
Well, it's very simple now. Patrick Ewing has had a long history of playing against Greg Kite. And that history says go down low and do what you want. Now, on the first opportunity, Ewing under pressure coughed it up, although it appeared he might have had some contact, which he didn't get the benefit of, but he's got to dig in down low and forget jump shooting.
And for the most part, it has been all jump shooting for Ewing here tonight. Went through that cold stretch from late third quarter through the 4th. He went over 15 minutes without scoring before he hit that drop step jump hook. Tolbert called for the foul, his 4th. The Knicks are down by 1. Ewing is setting up down low. Goes at Kite and hits. So the Knicks lead by 1.
And Kite can't jump. He can't block a shot. Ewing can do what he wants.
Nice assessment of Greg Kite.
Harsh but true.
Tolbert. Orlando leading 199.
What Kite can do, though, is bother Ewing with his physical play. He certainly presents a body.
We are into overtime. Minute 10 gone by in the OT.
That body made Ewing take what turned out to be a tough shot.
Once again, Pat Riley going with Doc Rivers over Greg Anthony down the stretch, although Anthony with 14 assists this evening. Skiles with the pull-up. Orlando 102, but Knicks 99, 17 for Skiles.
Skiles beat Rivers off the dribble with a jump shot. It just shouldn't happen.
Oakley. Once again, the Magic leaving Charles Oakley open. And he's hit 7 of 8. He has 18 points. Magic by 1. Just under 3 minutes remaining in overtime.
Now Ewing can cheat as he does there now.
Oh, what a shot by Tolbert.
Came over to help, but it wasn't enough because Kite isn't going to be looked for, and he's not going to be a shooter out there. So Ewing can really think about helping.
Magic leading by 3. Mason passing on the open shot. Here's Ewing.
Oh, he got away with a walk.
Rebound Oakley. And a foul call. Loose ball on Oakley. That is his 3rd. The Orlando Magic playing without Shaquille O'Neal, who fouled out at the end of the 4th quarter. But they've had the edge here in overtime. They lead by 3. They have the ball. 2 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in overtime. Skiles. Starks on the run. Skiles back. Here's Starks, and he's fouled and protected by Skiles. Mason and Kite having some words. And once again, John Starks took off the protective face mask and put that move on, and Scott Skiles, showing compassion, committed the foul, but also was able to prevent the fall. Here it is. Skiles with the foul, and a nice move by Scott.
Skiles' hand was up around Starks' nose as well. Meanwhile, that peg pass out by Oakley fortunately was caught by Starks. That could have been a real devastating play for the Knicks, because Charles really kind of let that one fly.
Starks with 25. Ewing, the high man for the Knicks, with 34, but he has not shot well down the stretch. And Charles Oakley with a season high 18. The Knicks move within 1. We come up on 2 minutes to go in overtime. Orlando 104. The Knicks 103. Anderson, played tightly by Mason, goes to the crossover. Rebound Rivers.
Well, you know, Pat Riley doesn't want to give the Orlando Magic the confidence that they can ever win a game here, because this could be a playoff matchup in the early round.
Mason goes glass. Knicks by 1. 1.5 remaining in overtime. Knicks 105, Orlando 104. Skiles changed his mind, and it cost Starks for the interception.
Ewing out there played a key role with his presence. He caused confusion.
Skiles was about to go for the 3 and then changed his mind. That counts, and the foul. Patrick Ewing will go to the line. Red Kite called for the personal. Knicks now lead by 3.
Well, this is a move that Patrick didn't show Shaquille. Going from left to right. He's comfortable now. He can protect the shot with that left hand. He didn't need to, but he had a fluid move there. Look at that pile of points for Ewing.
Ewing has hit 3 out of 4 from the line. A 9-2 run by the Knicks. And And they lead 108-104. Orlando
Have executed a 7-0 run. John Starks 2 foul shots. Patrick Ewing's 3-point play, and also Anthony Mason working out of this side of the court for the first time tonight. Beautiful shot off the backboard. That helped ignite the Knicks' run of 7-0. A lot of confusion out there. Ewing helping out the guards as the big men do, and that's a turnover, putting the ball in the hands of the Knicks. They have turned it around. Patrick Ewing working against Greg Kite. He knows he can shoot over Kite, and he does, and he drew the foul as well.
This is an Orlando team without Shaquille O'Neal, who fouled out in the fourth quarter. Magic also without Dennis Scott once again because of that Achilles heel injury. Terry Catledge is on the injured list with a bad knee. So they've hung in despite the injuries and the foul trouble of Shaquille O'Neal, but they're trailing here by 4 with 50 seconds to go in overtime. Donald Royal was fouled. He was held. Royal back to the line. Starks called for his 5th. Donald Royal, 3 out of 4 from the line. The Knicks looking to tie the season series at 2 games apiece. And as you mentioned, John, of significance, they do not want to give the impression to the Magic that they can beat the Knicks here at the Garden, because this is a potential first-round playoff matchup.
This man is in the game because of his defense. Matt Kuka says he finishes games for us because he knows how to play defense. Donald Royal adding some offense now.
Knicks lead 108-106. 40 seconds to go in overtime. Royal with the steal. There is an illustration of the defense that he offers up. Donald Royal with the steal. 30 seconds to go in overtime. Orlando with the ball down by only 2. Anderson with a one-on-one move. And he's blocked and fouled. Ewing came over to help out. The combination of Ewing and Mason stopping Anderson, and Mason called for his 5th. So Anderson to the line. He is 5 of 5 from the line.
Well, the Knicks coughing it up now. Anderson going to the foul line now, but Royal with a very big play, deflecting that pass intended by Starks.
Nick Anderson missing a critical free throw. He is not a strong foul shooter, although he's done the job tonight. He's only 71% for the season. 22 seconds to go in overtime. Anderson hits 1 out of 2. The Knicks lead by 1. Here's pressure by Orlando. They trap Starks, and he calls, let's see, he's called for a travel. He wanted a timeout.
You better be careful with the reaction, as much as it hurts.
A traveling violation called on Starks. Brian Williams.
That's a big concern. I mean, this is a small lineup. Let's face it. Tom Tolbert, Brian Williams, 6'11" is big, but they're aggressive and they're quick. And we can't forget Skiles too. He can be a crusher. He finds ways to win.
Anderson will throw in. Out of 15 seconds. Knicks have a 1-point lead. Tolbert takes it to the hoop, and let's see what the call is. It's against Tolbert. Offensive foul. Jake O'Donnell with the indication of an elbow that was thrown by Tolbert. He made the call from midcourt. 5 on Tolbert. Knicks get it back. 1-point lead. They decide to take a timeout with 12 and 7/10 seconds remaining in overtime. A wild thing. The Knicks have 2 and a 20 remaining. 2 timeouts, 2 full timeouts, and a 20. Orlando has 1 left. Mason will throw in front court. Being guarded by Brian Williams.
Tolbert just used the word flop in talking to Tommy Nunez about Oakley.
Delay of game to give. Utilized by Orlando as they check out the offensive scheme of the Knicks. Mason gets it in. Starks is fouled by Skiles. Little stare between Scott Skiles and John Starks, who again tosses the face mask. And he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Boy, if you had to select, if you're Pat Riley, who to foul at this moment, Starks is the guy. And how fortunate the Knicks were getting the ball, Mason getting the ball into Starks' hands. He delivered earlier to drive this game into overtime.
He's 4 for 4 from the line today. 77% for the season.
Push move by Skiles. Almost slapping Starks' hand on that.
11 seconds remaining. Starks hitting 1 out of 2. The Knicks lead by 2. 109. 107. Orlando using between the Magic and the Knicks. 11 and 6/10 seconds remaining in overtime. The Knicks lead by 2. Orlando using its final timeout. Knicks with 2 full and 1:20. It will be Orlando ball when we pick it up. And it seems like we have seen this particular scenario on several occasions throughout the night. A clutch situation. And once again, the strategy for Orlando, I would think, would revolve around Nick Anderson being the first option in taking the shot.
You are staying with that.
I am. Although if Skiles gets a good look, I don't think he'll hesitate.
Well, Nick has shown through the season that he is the last second man, and he's been successful 4 times.
Tom Tolbert will inbound. They must get it in. No timeouts remaining. Brian Williams, 10 seconds. This is Royal. Out of 5. And it's Brian Williams going to the basket. It's knocked out of bounds. Last touch by the Knicks. 1 1/10 seconds remaining. No timeouts left for Orlando. Skiles will throw in from the baseline. So Brian Williams saw the opportunity and took the shot.
Defense can't give their men any room to move for a pass.
Skiles for Tolbert for 3. That would have won it for Orlando. Instead, the Knicks in overtime have defeated the Magic 109-107. Knicks make it 3 straight wins, a record of 39 and 18. They even the season series at 2-2 with Orlando. The Magic now at the 500 mark at 28 up and 28 down. And the Knicks are now